Well. Welcome back to Monday night edition of the Blitz Pickup. You might have some hurt feelings or possible hurt feelings. We got some John Harbaugh news. Apparently he did a interview, and one person had him on our list and one person didn't. We're gonna see what we think about that. Also, we're gonna go over all of the potential coaching candidates and how we feel about them. Some of us have a problem with first time head coaches, and some of us, I believe, think it's Harbaugh a bust. I'll see if some minds were changed based on what Matt LaFleur, what happened with him. But before I do that, my co-host Lou, what's good, Lou?
Tone was good. What's good, dog?
Hey, what's happening? Don't worry about Jess. She says she'll be a little late. I forgot to mention that. Sorry, y'all. I'm just ready to get into the show. But yeah, Lou. Listen, man, how was your day, man? Before we get into this, I know this probably gonna be another back and forth, guy. I'm not sure about this one, but we're gonna get into these candidates. So before I do that, I want to ask you, how was your day, my brother?
Hey, Tone, man. Mondays, it was busy, but it was productive, and it was good, man. I can't complain. Had some good conversations earlier today in a Twitter space. Shout out to Mystic for holding it down. But all in all, busy Monday, but good, bro. How about yours?
Hey man, good. Monday wasn't as busy as I thought it would be, so I had time to catch up. I was good today, you know what I'm saying? Chen, as you can see, I was able to interact with y'all a lot more in the spaces today. So I had a pretty good day for me.
We got a new co-host?
I don't apparently someone told level 2 noob that the new co-host. I wonder who he's talking about. Not sure, but hey, listen, man. If you know, you know. Roadrunner say fins up. What's good, Roadrunner? Marino's GOAT. Hey, they were looking for you earlier in the space, Marino GOAT. But shout out to you, my brother. Always in the building. Mystic, what's good, y'all? Shout out to Mystic and the Midwest boys. You know what I'm saying? Don't waste no time. Throw the Midwest boys up there in any conversation. Juan Gonzalez says, what's up, everyone? Chef Drew in the building. What's good, OG Tony H, OG Lewis, and everyone? How y'all tonight? Check your posts and fins up. I don't know if we can check our posts yet. Let's wait to see what happened in this coaching search.
Well, I will say,
what's good, my brother?
Vamos in here. Michael K, the Bills fan, he says go Bills. He's also in here. But Tone, I will say to let my man level 2 new, if you do want a job, right? The Blitz pickup is definitely
DM Jess.
Well, no, I was just gonna tell my man level 2 new, like the PTO over here is crazy. Like you listen, the PTO over here at this job, it is tremendous. You can take time off whenever you want. It's a great place to work, man.
I just said DM Jess because apparently that's what DMs go to die. So you know what I'm saying? Roadrunner said, "Turn up there, Tony. Let's go." Yeah, we about to go, man. Roadrunner. We'll see. I see Michael K in the building. Go Bills. Good win for y'all, Michael K. I say that. You feel me? Yeah, he say built different. I see you, Mystic. But listen, man, we can get right into it, Lou. Apparently, there was. Hold on, my bad. I'm slipping. Let me. Boom, there we go. Now we see what we're talking about. We got the coaching search. You know what I'm saying? A couple of individuals up there. So Lou. I want to get your feeling because, first of all, before we did the show and before today happened, I think it was after the Thursday night show, it came out that Miami has finally reached out to Harbaugh and basically to request an interview. Let me get your thought process on that first before we go forward. What do you think about that?
About the Dolphins finally reaching out to John Harbaugh?
Let's say making it public now. Let's just say that.
Okay. Well, again, I think, the Dolphins, just like a lot of other teams, they're doing their due diligence. So, yeah, listen, I'm not surprised that they reached out. I'll say this, Tone. I don't believe, what they're saying, that this was the first time they reached out to him. It's hard for me to believe that. But, yeah, listen, at the end of the day, should it shock anybody that they reached out to him? No, it shouldn't. He's one of the biggest names out there. And I would say, yeah, basically the Dolphins are just doing their due diligence, trying to, talk to him or gauge his interest. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
I think do you buy into all of this? They didn't want to get in trouble or tampering things when it came to John Harbaugh because I'm not buying it. Like you could reach out to him all you want, even if that's your, let's say, top or leading candidate. What's wrong with reaching out with him? I mean, to him as soon as he become available. I mean, there's no rule that says you have
Mm-hmm.
to interview the minority first for the Rooney Rule. Because I know a lot of people was pushing that. Oh no, the only reason they're saying they haven't reached out to him is because of the potential tampering or whatever they thought it was going to be. Are you buying any of that?
I, I wouldn't, man. That's why I think I asked on that day, because that's why I wanted to see would it be tampering if Mike McDaniel was still the head coach. That's why I asked y'all, and y'all
Right.
had the opinion it wouldn't be.
No.
Tone, at this point, man, I don't know, and I've been sitting on some things. Maybe later on in the show, I'll bring it up. I'm just from the Mike McDaniel perspective. I don't know. Do you think there's a chance the Dolphins could be having some remorse of getting Mike McDaniel up out of here as early as they did?
Me personally, because I don't think that John Harbaugh becoming available is the reason they fired him. That's
Mm, okay.
see now that's because I know a lot of people was thinking, um, Steve got a great point. Say Tony, maybe they don't want to seem desperate. That's a great point. So I know a lot of people are assuming that that's why they apparently had a sudden change of heart. I'm under the impression, and I'm just gonna give my opinion that it came because of how those GM interviews went. That's just the way I'm leaning, right? Because I would assume, which I think everyone else would assume, when a GM come in, 99% of the time they want to bring in their own head coach. And then with the so-called reports coming out that they were asking them how they feel about McDaniel, I think it was an overwhelmingly no. They want to move off of him. Because I just don't see no GM coming in here saying, yeah, I'm willing to move forward with a Mike McDaniel as my head coach because that's not his guy. And no. So that's why I don't think, I don't think for most people, they don't have no, I mean, not gonna say for most people, I don't think they have any remorse saying that they got rid of Mike McDaniel out, to your word, too soon. Because I don't think it was too soon. I think they just moved on from him because they was like, hey, we're going into our next phase of the GM candidates and to let them know that we're 100% how you say on their side, willing to, not what word I'm looking, decisive about what's going on with Mike McDaniel. I think they went ahead and got rid of him. That's just from my assumption. If you feel like you think otherwise, I can understand. But so no, I don't think they have any regrets. Me personally.
Well, the only reason I brought it up is because I think that the Dolphins, and again, it could be possible, who knows, determining on what happens in tonight's game. Let's say a Mike Tomlin becomes available. I think the Dolphins, if you land a Tomlin, a Harbaugh, hell, a Mike McCarthy, kind of where I've been, Tone, on guys that have like a little resume behind them, I don't think there would be regret. But I do think, and again, I'm not even trying to debate you and Steve and maybe others' point of, yeah, you brought in a new general manager. The general manager wants their own guy. I get all that. But from a Dolphin perspective, especially Stephen Ross, that's the main one I'm talking about. We've heard over the years, Tone, how much he appreciated, how much he valued Mike McDaniel just from a likability standpoint.
Yeah.
And I think if we wake up and it's one of these other guys, another first time guy, again, I'm not going to say that those guys are not going to be good, but I do think the Dolphins would look at it and be like, damn, we did get rid of McDaniel, a guy that maybe we did like, for another like unknown, unproven commodity. I do think, and again, that's just my opinion. I do think the Dolphins will look at that situation if they can't land a kind of, let's say, a bigger fish. I do think there'll be some reservations on the back of their mind. Maybe not so much from the new general manager or whatever, but from an ownership standpoint, like a Stephen Ross, I could possibly see him maybe having some regret of just going into something with like the unknown again.
Well, since you want, correct or not landing a bigger fish, what are your thoughts on John Harbaugh only taking an interview from Atlanta so far? And now there's some conflict. I ain't gonna say conflicting. Adam Schefter came out and he put the list out. The Dolphins weren't on there. It was like the Titans, and other teams. I forgot the one, Cleveland and some other people that was on there, but it wasn't the Dolphins on there. The Giants, Titans, Cleveland, and I think one more other team. And then I forgot the guy. Y'all know the guy name, so I don't want to butcher it. Another guy came out with Steve had brought it to our attention that they did have Miami Dolphins on the list for him taking preliminary calls just to engage their interest. What do you feel about that? That's kind of mixed reports out there. So what do you think? How you feel about that? And what do you think about Miami Dolphins' chance of landing him?
Oh man. I'll start with the second question first. Our chances of landing them, I don't think they're good, to be honest with you. Again, if I was putting a percent, maybe 20% chance, maybe, if that. I just think, again, Tony, it was my biggest fear, and I keep saying it, and until I'm proven wrong, it's just how I'm going to have to feel. Because at the end of the day, I just think the Dolphins are not willing to give up power. And again, we've had these conversations, and I'm with you, right? As much as I would like to see a guy like John Harbaugh come here, if what the reports have came out, oh, he wants $20 million, he wants complete power, if that's what he wants, and the Dolphins don't want to go all the way in, I understand that. But these are when you go and get a guy like that, you have to give up some kind of power. Like in a relationship, Tone, it's all about give and take, right? It just can't be I'm a take. And I just don't know if the Dolphins are willing to do that, man. So, as much as I would like a guy like John Harbaugh, I don't think the Dolphins are going to get him. And then to the reports of, Adam Schefter had gave us a list of guys Miami had reached out to. John Harbaugh wasn't on that list. And Albert Breer, a couple minutes later, he said the Dolphins did I guess an informal interview, a little whatever.
Yeah.
Bro, at this point, Tone, who knows, bro? I'm sure you're getting text messages from people I'm getting stuff. Everybody is just talking. At this point, Tone, I'm going to be honest, bro. I don't know what to believe. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, listen, I'm happy that they're reaching out to him. That's all I can say. Everybody knows I'm a John Harbaugh guy in this scenario. Now, there's some other guys I'd be willing to entertain, but, John Harbaugh would be my first choice. But I don't know, man. I don't think the demands that we've seen from John Harbaugh, Tone, is what he's asking for, but I do think he's asking for stuff. And I don't think the Dolphins are willing to play ball like that. I think the Dolphins have this collective in place, and it's basically what it is, bro. You're either going to come in here and work well with the collective, or you're just not going to come in here. And I don't know if John Harbaugh is the kind of guy to work with the collective. So I would say 20% chance, Tom.
All right. First of all, delusional Patriot fan. It's not rude. I could take a joke. He say, "Is it rude to point out Tony looks like D'Amico Ryans with hair?" At least you said I got hair, my brother. I think so. Let me answer this two ways. I think the percentage is pretty low. I'm around 20, 25%. I'll say 25%. But I don't think it has as much to do with the collective and the power or whatever the situation is when it comes to the collective, how we looking at it. I think that's easy for us to say, and not just you, just anybody in this fan base, because we understand that has been a problem, at least that's what it seemed like on the outside looking in. But I just want people to remember, right? We're still the Miami Dolphins. we're still in cap hell. We're still stuck with Tua. You understand? So then we still have those crazy situations that GM and that head coach is going to have to come into. So to ignore that fact and think that that doesn't have a big, and I'm talking about a major part of him maybe not want to come here, I think we're doing ourselves a disservice. We're doing our fans a disservice and our listeners a disservice by not pointing that out and reminding people before this anything happened, before anyone was fired. You understand? We was talking about the scenario if we fire Greer, why we should not bring in a new guy so soon because he have to come into that situation. And if we fire Mike McDaniel, why we wouldn't, be so in a rush to bring in a new guy because of the Tua and the cap situation. So I'm going to say that remains one of the main reasons that I don't think a guy like a John Harbaugh, which he has the pick of the litter, as we can see, or a Matt LaFleur if he was to come available. I think those would be the main reasons for them not wanting to choose here or this not being their first choice rather than the collective and the lack of, delegating of power or relegate, whichever word is supposed to go there, of the power because, or relinquishing of the power. Let's just say that. Because I think I'm on the opposite side of y'all. I believe the collective give all the power to people they trust. So if they bring in someone they trust, I don't think they have a problem with allowing them to have full autonomy. Right? And I think the biggest problem is they gave it to the wrong people. Maybe it was Chris Greer at first, and then it was Mike McDaniel, and neither one of them seemed to work out. So I think for that reason is why I'm not as convinced that it doesn't have more to do with the situation that this franchise is in rather than the situation with how our front office is set up. You understand? So that's me and my thought process. Now, do I believe he's going to come in with a lot of demands? Yes. Do I believe that they might have some pushback initially because let me ask you from this standpoint. If you are the owners, right, and you see it from the outside looking in, and you run your business a specific way, will you be just so willing to just give a John Harbaugh full autonomy and say you run everything and not take into consideration what the GM wants? Because we had the GM first. So we have to take in consideration, is that what John Eric Sullivan wants as a head coach? We can't forget about that part. And then how much do you want a brand new GM? Do you want him to come in and feel like the coach and him have to fight or compete for power? I don't think that's a good dynamic. I just don't. So I believe it has to be, when it comes to a guy like John Harbaugh, he has to be willing to work along with it and accept the GM as his boss. Or let's say equal. I will say equal. No, let's not say his boss. At least that's his equal and not come in and say, well, I want, control over personnel or whatever it is that he may be acting. But let's say allegedly. Because that GM is like, this is my first opportunity, right? I want to build this team the way I see fit. I want to bring in a coach to fit my vision. I don't want to come in here in my first year, I got to worry about another head coach's vision, which is not my choice. Don't you think that would be a bad way for the collective to go forward and move about it?
Absolutely.
We're
yeah, 1,000%.
John Harbaugh on John Eric Sullivan, and he's not really fitting that. So I think it's more, I'm looking at, that's just me, I'm looking at it more from that standpoint because I have more evidence that, this Dolphins franchise is in cap hell and stuck with Tua and the decision they have to make with Tua. And not only Tua, let's be real. You got Bradley Chubb, you got Tyreek. We forget about Tyreek. He's coming off an injury. He's still on the contract. We got to figure out either we're going to cut him or try to trade him, or are we going to try to extend him? We don't even know where we stand at right now with Tyreek. Then you got to make a decision on Minka Fitzpatrick. He's due $18.3 million, and are we in the situation to where we can extend them? Then you walking in, you got Achan. You got to make a decision on Achan. I think with all of those players and key positions, the GM and the head coach has to be on one accord. They have to. Or it's going to be a disaster from the start. You know? So could it be a situation to where the Giants, Atlanta, they're in a better financial situation than we are, and that what makes them more attractive? Let's say the Las Vegas Raiders, the same situation.
And I'm with you, right? All that is fair and valid, but the Dolphins are only in cap hell for one season, though. It's just one. We're like, well, potentially, but
yeah.
Regardless of the fact, like I still think like in 27 it's still going to be better than what it is in 26.
Yes,
like you might
100% facts. Yeah.
So like I don't know if that weighs my, like, to your point, like, yeah, the Giants this season and the Raiders, okay, this season, but it is either one of those two places better situations than Miami.
The Giants, yes, hands down.
But because of what? Because of names?
Because of the roster, because of the cap that they have. They potentially already have their quarterback under a rookie contract that they can move forward with. And they have like the young talent over there. They got, don't forget, Scalaboo, Jackson Dart, and God dog, what's the receiver name? I keep on forgetting it. Malik Neighbors. That's the core. You can build. That's building blocks right there. You got the two bookends. You know, dynamic. I think it's just a lot of work there. And let's not forget, this franchise has 4 Super Bowls. And they've been to Super Bowls as of recent, and they've shown the ability to build a team and get to a Super Bowl and not take 10, 15, 20 years like our situation is. So I just think now, whether you want to deal with the New York media, that's a different thing. And how you feel about their GM, that could weigh in. But I believe the Giants situation, I'm looking at the Giants and Tennessee situation as in, I think I'd rather go there than go to deal with what we're dealing with Miami, because in Miami, you still have things to fix. And those other two, you pretty much just building. You coming in and building. You don't have to tear it down first.
Yeah, but I don't think you have to tear it down in Miami neither. See, I look at Tennessee. Tennessee has just as much work to be done as Miami would.
Not with the cap situation. Not with their quarterback situation.
Well, again, but that's fine. You like Cam Ward. I like Cam Ward. I'm saying whatever coach goes over there, that's not. Now again, they know what it is, but that's not like their guy. Like, we don't know how others feel about Cam Ward. Right? John Harbaugh, let's say John Harbaugh wanted to go to Tennessee. What happens if 2 weeks in, he's looking at Cam Ward, he's like, man, this ain't going to work. Hey, listen, watching the film, this, that, and the third, but, hey, man, maybe it's not going to work out. Like, I just don't know. I don't know if I put in that much stock. I'm not saying what you're saying is not valid, Tone. Again, I understand. I'm just saying, if I'm looking at it, okay, Miami's going to be a dumpster fire in 26 with the salary cap. But Tennessee has all this money, but they're a dumpster fire. Like, a dumpster fire is a dumpster fire no matter where you go. If it was me, and again, Tom, when we talk, I always say this to where I try to put myself in, like, if I was in those shoes. If I'm looking at it, yeah, Miami, yeah, hey, there's some issues here in Miami with salary cap, this, that, and the third. But again, in my opinion, it's just 1 year. And I'm not expecting, like, no matter where you go. In Miami, let's say potential coaching candidates don't think they can win in Miami in 26. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think John Harbaugh is going to Tennessee and winning next year in 26. I don't think John Harbaugh is going to the Giants and winning in 2026. So from that standpoint, yeah, okay, cool. Miami has issues and we're not winning there in 26. But realistically, am I winning with the Raiders in 26?
Possibly.
Am I winning? Well, again, but this is when we have those. To your words, possibility. I mean, possible I can win him in Miami as well in 26.
See,
I mean, everything is possible.
I mean, just so look at the teams we're naming. All have young talent that's proven talent, right? No cap issues and high draft picks too. Top 5, all of them top 5. I just make sure I double check.
Well,
So you're
Tone,
going in that, and you starting off with young talent, and you have a top 5 pick, and you have cap.
Well, the pick is where for me that go again. I'm not for me, and I'm just talking about myself. I'm forgetting about the cap because in 27 I'm going to be in the same position as where the Giants and the Raiders are, right? I'm going to be in that same position in 27. I'm going to have that money too. So the cap is not the issue for me. Now, if you want to go top 5 draft pick with the Raiders and Tennessee and okay, cool. Those are options. The Giants, right? That's the biggest issue for me. I'm not going to go cap. But when you say those other teams, Tony, you bring up the young talent that is proven. Well, again, as much as I like Jackson Dart, did he really prove something?
Yeah.
What did he prove?
He proved with a team that you could win with him.
Well, I mean, okay, cool.
Don't you say Jackson Dart? Malik Neighbors, one of the ones. Already a top 10 receiver. Scalable, one of the ones. Was already in the top 10 running back before he got injured.
Well, it's Scatterboo.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. We're just talking, Tony. You know how you ain't got to say sorry. I'm asking, is Scatterboo what he proved in 1 season? Is he better than what A-Chain has proved in 3?
No, but when you go over there, Scalable, you still got 3 more years of him. A-Chain, you got to decide what you're going to pay him with cap. Hell, you see what I'm saying? You're coming in. So think about this. Let me tell you the difference. That all sound good, but the other teams, they're going in, they're building immediately. This team, you have to take basically a year off. You're saying not tear it down, but you're tearing down that cap. And then hopefully you get into position to begin to build the next season. And then you're going to start off in your second season, right? Where you would have been in your first season at the other teams, which is with the high draft picks. And then now you have to start, not even in that they're in their position, because all of those, except for the Raiders, have a quarterback in house and have young talent that you could build with. Here, you gotta wait first 1 year and then start to bring those guys in, and hopefully you hit. And then you're dealing with a new GM that you don't know how his draft is and whether he understands what he. Like I said, to me, I think it's a lot more to come in to the Miami Dolphins. Like, if I'm looking at it from your standpoint, I think we're looking at it from more of a fan standpoint and saying, well, it ain't that bad. Because you just next year you're gonna be in the same situation. You just gotta deal with it for 1 year. But someone from the outside coming in, I don't want to come in and deal with nothing. You get what I'm saying? That I don't have to. Like, yeah, you're going into any job you're going into a situation where someone had to get fired for the position to be open. But you want to put yourself in the best position to succeed. And that's just in cap. And then we're taking out the potential of, that you're going into that franchise, that Brian Flores, you see what happened with the Brian Flores situation and the miscommunication, and it's been 25, well, now going to be 26 years. Like, you're dealing with so much stuff that's been going on forever here. I just don't think it's an ideal situation if you have so many other options to say, well, that's better now, but I only got to deal with that being better now for 1 season, as opposed to I'm going to go in these people in these places and I can hit the ground running and just start building my team right away. Because we don't understand what the situation is going to be next season, because let's just say what position you really going to be in if, let's say, you come in, you say, okay, we got to fix cap. Are you going we getting rid of Bradley Chubb? Are you getting rid of Waddle? Remember, we got Waddle, Tyreek, Tua. Like all these decisions you have to make just to get and see where you're at. So by the end of next year, we can have no weapons, Lou. Think about that. If they don't decide to extend Achan, that's your best weapon out of the building. And it's looking more likely that they're not going to bring back Tyreek. That's two dynamic weapons out of the building. And then you got Brad, you know what I'm saying? So think about what realistically is this roster going to look like in 27 when you assume that we're going to be able to start. You know, are we starting off where he will start off in 26 with those other teams in 27 with us? I don't think so. I think we're still being a worse situation, adding on the fact that they're going to add their top 5 picks. And we don't know if they hit or not. And they're going to add their draft class in. So you might be looking at 2 years behind it as opposed to 1. You don't think a guy that's from the outside looking in is going to look at that and say, well, I'm not a Miami Dolphin fan is going to look at it and say, it's not that bad. But someone that's had no ties to the Miami Dolphins is going to come in and why would I want to deal with that? You don't think that's more of a possibility?
I mean, yeah, again, but I would argue because were the Dolphins the only team that didn't have a general manager? Wasn't there other teams?
No, only the Falcons, the one that he interviewed for.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is though.
So like the Giants. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying because you're talking about like. Forget about Harbaugh, any coach, right? You can make that argument for any coach coming into Miami. Mm-hmm. But wouldn't I be able to contest then that the guy we just hired, John Eric Sullivan, if with everything you said, he still took the job to come to Miami. He could have went to Atlanta with a way better situation and salary cap and players, but he chose like Miami. I just think
they didn't reach out to him though. We got to think about how many opportunities he had.
Well, again, that's
look. Remember, he's not highly touted like John. We're taking into consideration how highly touted John Harbaugh is, which will prevent him from making this choice, which from the outside looking in look like one of the worst situations as opposed to all the other openings. I think the Dolphins and the Cleveland Browns situation, you're looking at it like, no, I don't want to go to neither one of those franchises right now because there's too much cleaning up you have to do, right? That's from the standpoint I'm looking at because John Harbaugh, he has to pick of the litter. Atlanta did reach out, Tony, for the president job. Reach out to who though? Oh, to John Eric. Okay.
He's saying to John Eric. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
I'm just saying, could it? Well, then what it sounds like, and again, if I'm going to go by what you're saying, Tony, and you're making great points. I'm not saying I'm disagreeing. I'm just saying, then it sounds like we're going with another first-time guy. That's what it doesn't sound like, to your point, the way you're laying it out, that nobody with a name or this, that, or would want to take the Miami job. So then it just lands you into what you're getting now, the Jeff Hafleys of the world. I know right before the show started, or maybe an hour before the show started, we got the report, I guess the DC and Detroit Shepard or whatever. I guess he used to be a player for the Dolphins. He got in. So now you're looking at guys like that, and I just don't know. Again, that's where
not ideal. Let's be real. We both can admit that.
Like, why did we get rid of Mike McDaniel for that? Then you see what I'm saying? Like that just don't make no point to me, Tone. To me, it just don't make no sense. Like because you're making again great points, but now, bro, for me, then I'm not getting rid of Mike McDaniel for Shepard. I'm not getting rid of Mike McDaniel for Jeff Hafleys of the world. I don't know, man. I think Miami, they might have jumped the gun at least for my opinion. And the way you're laying things out, Tony, it doesn't sound good, bro. It's going to get a lot uglier before it gets better from what it sounds like.
And that, my brother, was a perfect segue to our next topic, what I want to get into, which is, outside of Harbaugh, look at the coaching, the interviews that we have lined up. I mean, I know y'all see a couple of guys down there, which is, you see them, Kubiak and Schuler and Harbaugh and Robert Saleh and Kevin Stefanski. like and what Hadley of the world. So now, what are we thinking about with those candidates? Because for me, right, let me do this one first because for me, I think me and you, this is what me and you differ. I think, right, and I got a question for you too, with as it pertains to this statement that I'm gonna make in my mindset. I think the GM, I don't care if it's a first timer, I don't care if it's a guy with experience like Mike McCarthy or Matt LaFleur or John Harbaugh. I think it should be his choice. Now, as a fan, we prefer not to deal with another first timer. Now, can I say, right, me and you, we're under the same, in the same boat with that, right? We're on the same page, correct, Lou? That we don't want another first timer here at coach. I mean, as a head coach. You there, Lou? Did I lose you? Oh man, don't tell me I left.
No, my bad, Tone. I had walked away for a second. What was that question you said?
So I was saying, based on the stuff that you said with transition to this topic, right? The Clint Kubiaks, the Don Shulers, the Chris Shulers, I'm sorry, John Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, the Hatleys of the world, and now this new dude. I'm under the impression, because I think me and you on the opposite side of the spectrum on this. I'm under the impression, let the GM pick whoever you want, whether it's a first timer or it's a guy with experience, right? But I think me and you can agree that we prefer it not be another first timer, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. That's a preference. Now, the reason that I wouldn't mind taking a step back and say, you know what, I'm gonna be cool with it. Because there's an opportunity for them to hit there, even though it's not my preference. Because I think the GM should have full autonomy of who he wants to bring in, and I don't think we should handcuff him. Because if he see a young, hot candidate that he thinks have the potential, I think he should have the full range to do that. Right? Now, why? I got a question for you. Do you think we missed when we brought in Brian Flores?
No, I don't think we missed.
Me neither. When I took a step back and I looked at it, I was like, when we was going through all of the first timers, and it was like, oh man, we ain't had 1, 2 until we hit with since Dave Wanstead. And we have first, and we've been missing this whole time. When I started going through the names, I said, hold on, wait. We've been saying we've been missing this whole time, but that's a lot of us think that we didn't miss on Brian Flores. So I'm like, if we feel like we didn't miss on Brian Flores, I think I should give it a little bit more not so much pushback on a new guy. Again, it's not my preference. But technically they would have hit on the first time guy. Because I think Brian Flores would have been the guy, and I think he would have done a hell of a job as the head coach for the Miami Dolphins. So with that in mind, I say I think they hit on the last one, but they didn't hit on the one. They missed on the last one, but they didn't miss on the one before. They missed on Gates, Philbin, and Tony Sperano. Those three they missed on. I think they hit on Brian Flores, and then it was and be honest, Lou, hold on. And you don't particularly think they missed with Mike McDaniel either. Now, let's be 100.
I was just about to say that. I don't think they missed with Mike McDaniel neither. I don't. I think listen, Mike McDaniel coached here 4 years. He had 2 playoff appearances. He had 2 non-playoff appearances. I'm with you, Tone. Listen, from the general manager, you brought a new guy in. He should be able to pick his guy. I'm with you there. And I'm not saying none of these first-time head coaches are one. Like I see Steve in the chat, and I did hear the same thing, Steve, that's being reported, Tone. I don't know if you've seen it when they interviewed the guy from Seattle, Kubiak or whatever. Supposedly he knocked that interview out of the park.
His interview.
They loved. Yeah. Yeah, I did see that earlier, and I had heard something about that kind of right before we got on the show. So again, we don't know what those first-time guys would do. I'm with you. It's just, again, it's about preference. we, we're two fans of the team, Tone.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I agree with your premise about Brian Flores, I do, maybe for me, I was more high on Mike McDaniel than maybe you and others. So I'm not saying a first time guy can't work out. All I'm saying is from where the Dolphins are, though,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't feel right to me. But this is more, again, this is my fan coming out. I don't know if I want to go from, bro, this would be 5 in a row. Like at
Mm-hmm.
some point, like I just don't feel comfortable. To me, and we always talk about it, Tom, whether it's from a wide receiver, running back, quarterback position, I think this is where me and you will agree. We always want upgrades. Like, remember, me and you when people talked about last year, well, who could you bring in here for Tua? Anytime someone told me and you, Tone, a name that we didn't believe was better than Tua, what did we do? We pushed
No.
back.
Yeah.
Because we don't want, like, why am I getting rid of Tua to go get either the equivalent or someone less than Tua? You see what I'm saying? Like, I want to
Yeah.
upgrade. And I'm not saying none of these guys couldn't be an upgrade to Mike McDaniel, Tone. It's just I'm tired of the unknown. Like, that's why I'm so hard on, and pause on that. But that's why
You get so much
I,
pushback.
I give so much pushback on the first time guys. Because I'm tired of the unknown, man. At least I know if it's Kevin Stefanski, I know what I'm getting. Uh, Harbaugh, McCarthy, any of these guys, I don't know, man. But to your point, ultimately, we're fans. We can't do nothing about it. And I do agree with you. And again, I don't have no pushback. You hired a first time or a new general manager. And since you did that, don't handcuff them to certain people. You brought them in to let them do a job, let them do his job, and we just got to live with those results. But for me, I would still try to pursue a known commodity. I'm just tired of the unknowns.
Mystic, is that does this mean you want to bring him in as the head coach? This should be your first choice, your number one choice, if that's how you feel about him, because we all know how you feel about Mike McDaniel. So um now another thing. See, this is what because I brought up Brian Flores, and I wanted to ask you a question because I think 2020 hindsight, you always have a better, outlook on things. But let's just say, because we give this collective a bunch of problems. You think if Brian Flores would have went ahead and tanked, and we had Joe Burrow, you think we have a problem with the collective today? You think it's
No,
such a big
no,
deal
because
now?
no, because I think a quarterback, one
Mask
of
it.
Joe Burrow's can mask a lot of the issues, Tom.
Yes.
So
So,
no.
so I think that's our biggest problem because we need someone to come in that get that guy. And I think we won't be so up on edge because you see how we was up. We both start off. I'm done with first timers, right? And then after a while, I was like, you know what? Now that if they bring in a new GM, I have to be fair with the guy. You understand? And the reason I got to be fair with the guy because I'm so tired, just like I'm tired of the same thing. It just don't seem to work. Like I have to literally sit down, take off my Homer hat, take off my fandom cape, and say, "Well, did it really not work? Is it really the same thing? Was there? Can I sit back and see that there was different? If things just went this way, it would have been made a world of a difference." I'm like, yeah, but it's just so tiring and frustrating to have to do all of that just to think straight because you're so frustrated with the position that this team has been in and the lack of being able to root for a successful franchise for such a long time that it take us 100 steps back. You'd be like, man, just take one step back. If we take one step back, it's still a whole bunch of problems in front of us, right? Like if it's just one or two problems, you take one step back, you can see that. But when you got 1,000 problems in front of you, you got to take like to 100 step back for you to see on the outside looking in and be like, oh, wait, hold on, wait a minute. I forgot about that. Because it's just so many things that went wrong and things that should have went the other way. Till those are the things that stick in our mind. Because we're going to always remember the negatives and the loss. And that goes for anything. You remember when I came up here and we were talking about these players? We're like, excuse me. We were always, players and celebrities, they always ignore all of the praise and the good jobs. And I'm such a big fan. And I can't wait till you come. And I can't wait to see you. And pause on that one. And things of that nature. We'll go straight to the one that say you trash. I never like your music, or you don't know how to play. You suck. Why are you on my team? I want to get rid of you. That's what they give all their attention to, right? And I think us as fans, we do this. I think that's just a human thing. It's like in your human nature. You are always drawn to the negative. That's the one that cut your. What he said about me? Because you want to prove them wrong. It make you feel some type of way. And anger is always the easiest emotion to react on. So I think when it comes to us looking at this fan base, at this franchise, man, we at the point where we got to take like 100 steps back before we can see the bright side, or see the glass half full instead of half empty. So I think that's where we at as a fan base, that we're just so tired that anything that seemed like the thing that was unsuccessful, we're just not even willing to look at that anymore.
Tone, let me ask you this. Where everything that you were saying in our first segment, right, about things that could potentially, cause, a coach coming in some concern about taking the job with Miami. Any of these first-time guys, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Like everything you laid out, all the issues and problems, salary cap-wise, players that might not be here, do you think that could be overwhelming for another first-time head coach?
Yes. And I was going to say, I think that's bad because that it's easier to overwhelm a new guy than a guy that's been here, because he already know what he's getting himself into. Like a guy that's been there, done that already. That's why I said we're both under the same impression that our preference is Harbaugh or Matt LaFleur, and even a Mike McCarthy. Not Clint Kubiak, what's his name? Not Clint Kubiak. Kevin Stefanski. I don't know, man. I'm a little on the fence, but he's still
Robert Saleh.
Robert Saleh. I'm on the fence too, man. Like I don't know. Like you have to get him a great offensive coordinator. But those guys, at least with those guys, they understand what they're coming into. With Robert Saleh, he come from somewhere that you just in the dumps and you have to bring them up. Like no one is going to complain about that defense that he put up. I think the one thing that we said about Robert Saleh, if he just had a doggone quarterback, we'll look at him differently. You're right. Kevin Stefanski, he was the 2-time coach of the year at Cleveland. But that might be the most difficult place to win. And he did that at Cleveland. So I do think from that standpoint, they're more suited to be able to handle what it would take to fix what we have going on. Now, are they the best candidates? I don't know. I think to how you feel about it, most people feel like, I think John Harbaugh and the Mike LaFleur, and even to the Mike McCarthy too, their success at their other spots makes them more qualified because they know what a winner looks like. They experienced that. They know the characters of the players. They know the process that it takes. They know the practice routine. They know everything, the ins and out, in that what to look for in the draft. They understood that. And they were successful with the way that they approached it already. So it's easier. It's like riding a bike. It's easier to come in and do what you have done already than to learn something for the first time and hope to get it right. That's just like learning a new language. When you first learn it, whether you're good at it or not, you're still going to be thinking in that other language and then translate into your brain. But once you get fluent at it, it's second nature. So yeah, I just think it would be it, it'll be so difficult for a first time head coach to get us out of the slump that we're in, that it is going to have to take someone that has basically like genius level mindset to be successful, especially early and immediately. Cause I think it was Mike Best in the chat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was like, Tony, we don't have another 3 or 4 years to wait for a coach to build something. And unfortunately, I think that's what we're going to have to deal with if we bring in a new guy. I'm just being honest. I got to be 100% honest.
Is there any of these guys, Tone, first timers? I'm looking at the screen. I see Chris Shula. I see the Jeff Halfleys. I see
Clint Kubiak.
Clint Kubiak, and now let's throw in the guy that just got the call today, Shepard, the linebacker that used to play for us, right? Out of any of those guys, is there a leader in the clubhouse for you? Out of the first time head coaches?
Not necessarily. But if I had my choice, and I know you're probably gonna hate this, it'll be either Clint or Chris Shula. And the reason why I'll pick those is because the franchises that they're coming from. Clint is only the first. It was 2 years now in a row, but that over there in Seattle, they know how to win. They know how to build winners. And then you see what the Rams been doing. So they've been in franchises that built winning teams, and one of them, I don't know how long Chris Shula was there at the Rams, so I don't know if he was there for the Super Bowl run, but Clint Kubiak is over there with the number 1 seed in the NFL. And then Shula, I'm gonna tell you my biggest pushback on Shula is his last name, and I don't want to bring him in there, and he gets so much leeway and so many chances because he's the grandson of Don Shula. I just don't want to deal with that. I don't. I'm sorry. So that's what that I'll have to be honest about that. That's my biggest pushback. I don't know. The defense is nice. It's good. But nah. I'll rather go Clint Kubiak rather than Chris Shula, but that'll be my top 2 in there. It'll have to be Clint based on the list that we have. Yeah. What about you?
Nah, I'm the same way. Based on the list that we have, it would be Clint Kubiak as well. Not only, to your point, the job he's done with Seattle, it's just the background, the pedigree. His father is one of the best offensive minds that this game has ever seen as well. So, again, I'm not, everybody knows my thoughts. I'm not really the big, especially for this team, the big first-time kind of coach kind of guy. But out of the list that we've, gotten, Clint Kubiak would definitely be my first choice on that list if we were going to bring in a guy. Especially, listen, defense is great, and we need defense. I'm not trying to say that. But all the rules now, it's an offensive-minded game. I do think from a coaching standpoint, I would definitely like a offensive mind. Again, outside of the Harbaughs of the world or those kind of guys. But, give me the offensive guy. I'm with you, Tone. It would be Clint Kubiak. From the list that we have of first-time head coaches, that would be if that's the way we were going, that would be my first choice, would be Clint Kubiak.
Hey, we've been doing this so long. You make my transition so easy. It's like, bro, just sticking right there. That the last one that I have right here that I say I'm going to ask this question is, with the coaching that's available now, right? Which one you think would be easier to bring in as a coordinator, offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator?
Ooh, Well, it depends. Okay, because if you're
who's
bringing
available.
Well, I guess for me, I would have to ask the question. Let's stay on the Clint Kubiak, right? If you brought him in as the head coach, I'm assuming he's going to be calling plays offensively, right?
Facts.
Well, then my opinion would be it would probably be easier to get a defensive coordinator, right?
Bingo.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes. And the reason I asked him, I'm like, well, if you bring in a guy like that, you know what I'm saying? You bring those, because those offensive coordinators, they seem to be working out just fine. Now, you do got Mike McDonald over there in Seattle, the defensive guy, that he seemed to be perfect. But for the most part, it seemed like, listen, man, these defensive guys, and then you got the Robert Salas, you know, I know he might not want to leave. You have to ask for it because there'll be a lateral move, but you have him out there. You have the Chris Shooters out there. You have what's the dude that just got fired in Atlanta? Morris out there, Raheem Morris out there, a defensive guy. Like, you have a lot of defensive mind guys out there, and don't, not to mention, we still got Anthony Weaver in house. So I think it'd be easier to bring in a defensive coordinator if you bring in an offensive guy than to try to go find an offensive coordinator if you bring in a defensive guy. I think so.
Now, let's say, Tone, I'll just get your thoughts on this. Let's say, from an offensive guy, let's say our guy is Clint Kubiak. That's the guy we run with. We get the breaking news: the Dolphins hired Clint Kubiak.
I forgot Brian Flores about that too.
And that's a very good point as well. I don't think that's happening, but hey, listen, I would be on board. But Tone, Clint Kubiak is now the head coach of the Dolphins. Would you like to see him bring in, or would you like to see the Dolphins bring in a defensive coordinator with maybe some head coaching experience to kind of help out your first-time head coach?
That would be ideal. That would be ideal because
you got any names in mind?
Brian Flores. Bring me B-Flow, but like Raheem Morris, if he don't get a job right away, bring him in. Why not?
Okay. Yeah.
You get me?
Mm-hmm.
He could show him the ropes. He failed over there in Atlanta, so he could show him what not to do. If he's willing to bring in, if he's willing to take that job, I would. I don't see why. Now last question. We got a game going on. I don't know who's winning. I'm not watching it. But if Mike Tomlin was to lose, this 2-part question, what's the over-under you think of him being fired? And then what percentage do you think the Dolphins will have in landing him?
I would say the same. I gave 20% for Harbaugh. I would say 20% with Mike Tomlin as well. That's for me the percentage of us getting a Mike Tomlin. To the question of do I think he would be fired? That would be 0% chance. I think the Steelers would fire. I think if he got away from Pittsburgh, I would think the report would probably read for me, Tone, it was a mutual parting of the ways. The Steelers, they sat down, they talked, and again, it's been 18, 19 years, and Tomlin just said, hey, maybe my voice is getting a little stale here, and I don't think you would get a report. Bro, the Steelers have played bro, they've been playing football for 100 years. They've had 4 head coaches, Tone. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're not the organization that just is in here every couple of years firing coaches. I don't think that's their pedigree. So I would say it would probably be a mutual, parting of the ways. We're just going to step away from each other. I don't think he gets fired. But, again, to the point or to the question, could the Dolphins land him? I mean, possibly. I would say I would reach out to him. If tomorrow we come and Mike Tomlin is no longer the coach, let's say they lose tonight, yeah, should the Dolphins try to get an interview with him? Absolutely. But do I think they would land him? I don't. Because what we talk about Harbaugh with maybe wanting, again, we don't know what the demands are. I don't think what we've seen, he's asking for all that. But I do think Tomlin comes with that same kind of ilk. Like, Tomlin's not walking in here without having any kind of power at all. And again, my question always goes back, Tone, do the Dolphins, I know you have the feeling that, they'll do it because they might trust them. And that, again, to your point, that could happen. I just don't believe that until the Dolphins show me. I think the Dolphins have a fundamental, their foundation is we're going to get guys in here that is willing to work with everybody. And I just think guys like Harbaugh, the Tomlins, hell, I mean, anybody that has some kind of cachet, I think, again, Tone, you're a man, I'm a man. Men have egos. They
Yes.
have where they want to be kind of, you know, hey, I'm the guy here. And I just think that the Dolphins don't, from what we've seen here recently, they don't play well in those kind of places. They want the it's the word, the collective. They want a collective mindset, everybody working well together. And I just think Tomlin, Harbaughs of the world, I think they're willing to play ball, but I think they do want a little bit more power than the Dolphins would be willing to give up. And until that day comes where I don't have that feeling no more, I just can't shake it. Right? Like you got to show me that you're willing to do that. So the same percent tone with Harbaugh, I would give Tomlin. Maybe 15, 20% of us landing it.
Yeah. So, and to that point, I think our only hope is that, John Harbaugh or a Mike Tomlin come in here and they just so happen to like Stephen Ross, Tom Gonfico, and Brendan Shore. You know what I'm saying? And they be like, you know what? I could work with these guys. And I think that's probably the only chance we have of them coming in and picking the Miami Dolphins franchise as the going forward. But
Tone, real quick, before you keep going, do you think it's a surprise out of all these guys getting interviewed, not just from the Dolphins, from all the teams looking for coaches? There's a name that's out there that we haven't even heard about getting interviewed. Are you surprised that John Gruden hasn't got an interview from anybody?
not really because of the lawsuit.
But I thought that was already cleaned up, wasn't it?
I
Didn't he win
heard,
that?
I don't know. See, I'm not. I heard about it, but I don't know if it's true or not. So but I am surprised, regardless of what.
Would that be a possibility for you in Miami, a John Gruden type?
I prefer not to be real with you, but I'm not a big. I mean, listen, I'll give credit where credit is due. He built that team in Oakland when the Raiders was in Oakland. He did with Rich Gannon and all them, the team that he beat in the Super Bowl. But the year before he couldn't get it done. Tuck rule, deal with it. So what? And then after that Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, what have he done? Like, what has he done to show you that he's a great coach after that? So I get it. And then with him, it's based on history too. No coach has left one franchise and won a Super Bowl with another one. So not only is I'm not the biggest supporter of him or fan of him, I mean, it's not say supporter. I just think history says it's not, it's not going to work. Now watching him on TV, he knows his stuff. I'll give it to you. He knows his stuff, but head coaching is just more than knowing your X's and O's. It's the way you treat people, how you build a team, and the discipline and everything that. And I think he's stuck on the old school mentality that he might not translate well. Now he could, because I know he do some of the little skits with him listening to what his name, NC Youngboy, or what his name is. I don't listen to him. But nah, I'm cool on that. If they bring him in, I will have to deal with it as a fan and hope for the best. But if I had a choice, nah, I'm not bringing him in.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not a big John Gruden fan like that neither. So
Steve said, if we bring in Gruden, we're 1,000% starting you. Hey, it is what it is. So don't bring in John Gruden for me. That's not a big deal. Now, last question before we get out of here. Listen, man, it's 37 of y'all in the building. Make sure y'all hit the like button. NBA young boy. Thank you, y'all. I don't be listening to these young men. Make sure y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, roll to 800. We've had a nice back and forth, so I ain't have an opportunity to tell y'all to hit the like button and subscribe. listen, man, y'all get this content, honest opinions. If it's your first time over here, hit the like button. We always go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 o'clock, 8-ish. And when the season starts, we do the live play-by-plays on game days or nights. So, last but not least, Lou, with any of these candidates, any of them, new guy, guy with some a John Harbaugh or with some experience and prior coaching experience, how much realistically, now I want to know realistically, how much time are we getting them to turn around before we start expecting playoff victories and this team to look like is ready to compete for Super Bowls? How much?
Well, from if it's a Harbaugh, Tomlin, that kind of guy that comes in here, my leash is going to be a lot shorter than like if Clint Kubiak comes in here, we got to give him time, especially about like all the stuff that you brought up earlier, Tone, about the salary cap. You trying to build this roster, this, that, and the third. Again, it's hard for me to answer that because, Tone, I'm just tired of every 2.5, 3 years we're firing coaches. I don't think you can build or establish stuff in 1 year, 2 years.
Yes.
So, again, my leash would be shorter on a Tomlin, Harbaugh, Mike McCarthy, those kind of guys. But and with a first timer, it would definitely be a little bit longer. But I mean, well, hey, pause on that. You know what I'm saying? Look,
Yeah.
2080. I mean, like, bro, I know we troll a lot. Tone, I mean, crypto might have a point. Like, 2080 might be realistic, but I don't know, man. I think this fan base, Tone, is so starved for a winner. I don't know realistically if any of these guys get a chance to come in here and build and establish something. We're thirsty, bro. We're thirsty for a winner. So I don't want to put a year or an amount like that on years. I would say first time head coaches would get a little bit longer leash. A guy like, again, Harbaugh, Tomlin, somebody like that. If a Matt LaFleur came in here, my leash would be a little bit shorter. I just don't know from a year standpoint if I could put an actual number on it. But
Okay. I got it.
I mean, again, are we giving them at least a pass, whoever it is, for at least 26? Because I don't believe you think we're winning in 26, right? So that's just a wash. Like next year's just a wash. Okay, cool. All right. Well, yeah.
So for me, I don't like that. For me, I think no matter who you bring in, they get the same amount of time, same amount of opportunity because they're coming into the same situation, and you're supposed to be hiring the best suitable and qualified person at that job. First time or not, right? So no, I'm not. If it's John Harbaugh, cool, you've proven. But if it's a new guy, I think you have the capability of being a John Harbaugh or Andy Reid or Mike Tomlin or whoever you think is a suitable candidate. So you need to bring in someone that you think is qualified to be a successful head coach. That's what every franchise will be looking for. So I think 3 to 4 years would be, I think, good enough for me, especially considering the fact that first year is a wash. You want to give him an opportunity to get out, get rid of the people that's not his, and then bring in their guys, and then give them that 1 year to get that camaraderie going together, and then that following season, I show me what you got. Show me what you got. I know it's hard to ask for as a Dolphin fan, but I think it should be. Like, come on, we got to be honest and we got to be fair. Whoever that comes in, it should be the same standard no matter what. So it is what it is. You hear me? But yeah, that's how I look at it, Lou. I don't know. What you think? You think that's fair or?
I mean, it's hard to argue. I think you made a good point. Hey, listen, man. At this point, Tone, I'm at a loss for words, to be honest. I don't know what I don't know what to do with this franchise. But at the end of the day, bro, I just think again, for me, I think if you're a first-time head coach, and we kind of talked about it earlier, with all the things that they're going to have to deal with in 26, I don't know, especially if, like I said, 26 is already a wash. What does that get you? To what, 27, 28? Realistically, if you're not winning by then, that's really only 2 years. If you're taking away 26, like, I don't
three to
know.
four.
Well, well, again, 3 to 4. Remember, bro, we haven't won a playoff game in 26 years. Now you're talking about another 4. You're getting into the 30 range.
Yeah.
Like, you
29.
think? Do you think 29? 20, yeah. Like, do you think this fan base is going to allow that?
That's why I said I don't. Well, and that's when the front office and all that, they have to see the vision and stick with it. Do not move, just like you said, Lou. If them firing Mike McDaniel was a reactionary move because of the fan base, that's the wrong thing to do. Always gonna be the wrong thing to do. So I think they need to see the vision and move forward. Now, hey, listen, Sean Payton went over there and fixed the Denver situation real quick. You know, D'Amico Ryans went over there and fixed Houston's situation real quick. So it's possible. Now I don't know how long it took Tom McShay to fix the Rams, but you know they was up, then they go down and they go up. In our situation, or in our, in our situation, in our case, we've been down for 25 years. You know, I don't know how long it took for Stefanski to fix the Cleveland Browns situation, but he did it. I believe his first season he won he won a playoff game. So it's possible. It is. But I think our front office should don't worry about the fan base, man. See your vision, move forward, regardless of what. And yes, if you believe that guy is the one that's gonna be your franchise head coach going forward, give him enough time. What's the dude name? Kyle Shanahan. He started off really bad the first 2 seasons, and then the third season, boom, out of nowhere, Super Bowl. So who knows? But that's why I say at least 3 to 4 years, and I think that's fair. And even if it don't come with playoff victories, but you see constant improvement, I think that should give him more leeway and earn more time to continue to improve. As long as you don't see no regression from his team, I think we should be fair. It's like I said again, it's very difficult to ask this fan base to be patient. Unfortunately, that's what it probably is going to take for us to have and build something successful and that has some stability and sustainability. But yeah, man. Listen, man. 31 of y'all in the building. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us, even with Monday Night Football on. It's been a good one. You know what I'm saying? We ain't had to scream at each other to disagree. We disagreed. More of how you say that, demure way. More but yeah, it is what it is. We give y'all the 100% honesty over here, and tell you what we like and what we don't like, and y'all decide if y'all agree with me or him. But listen, man, y'all hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Lou, you got anything else before we get up out of here?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right, well, you know what to do, man. Get us, you know what I'm saying? Take it away. I almost took your job again, but yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Hey, man, boy, look, it's tough being in these streets over here, boy. I tell you one thing, there ain't no collective over here. Hey, listen. With that being said, still 30 of y'all in the building. Do what Tony has been telling y'all all night. If it's your first time here, hit the notification bell, subscribe, and share the content. The road to 800 is upon us. This is, again, Monday episode of the Blitz Pickup. For my dog Tone, for myself, the PTO is doing well in 2026. We'll see y'all Wednesday. No more film breakdown.
You ain't gonna say the producer in the back? It's wow. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I was getting to the producer in the back. You know what I'm saying? I was just talking about the PT because again, see, we didn't do the screen. See, chat, and I just want y'all to know something, chat. Wait. Yeah. Because I was about to say, Hey, chat, it's a dirty world over here. When I'm not here, the loading box is loading, all kind of stuff. Now when Jess ain't here, Tone tries to be nice and do up. I see how we doing. Hey, man, listen. With that being said, we'll see y'all Wednesday, 8 o'clock-ish. Again, for your boy, for Tone, for the producer in the back. Y'all know what it is. See y'all Wednesday. Love y'all, man. Peace.
And we out.